What's up, my crypto legends? In this episode, we're going through this huge, big, major, old school bearish pattern. If this were to be the case that we are forming the three peaks and doomed house, and we are at the final stages here before getting a major correction, then we could drop all the way down to $25,000 range and even lower. We're going to go through the stages, okay, of this pattern, and also we'll be zooming in on the lower time frames to talk about the bullish case scenario, the biggest resistance levels that we do have beneath us, and what would be a confirmation that we are going to go down to $25,000 and even lower, guys. So make sure to stay tuned in this episode. Hi there, Andy here. Welcome back to another episode of Bitcoinsensus. If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. We do daily TA on Bitcoin crypto, also to live streams to connect with the community. I'm not a financial advisor, do not buy or sell anything that I say. If you do so, do your own research, and let's dive in here straight into the charts, guys, because we're going to talk about this three peaks and a doomed house. Okay, shout out to this guy on the Discord, on the Legends Trading community, because he posted it, all right, and said, hey, isn't this a possibility? And absolutely, I've been taking a look carefully at this pattern, and we actually making very similar movements, all right? I'll be leaving the picture above me so you can actually see, okay, the movements, all right? The three peaks are not really perfect here, but we do have a nice run down to the basement, and on the lower time frames, we're actually forming, okay, these actual spikes, okay, from 10 to 14, all right? We'll be talking about that scenario now in the next coming minutes. So what we did have here is the massive run up. We could arguably discuss that this has been the first peak. All of this round formation is the second peak, and then here we do have the third peak, right? Creating that 3, 5, 7, and then moving down here and creating 8 and 9, as you can see, and then the massive drop getting beneath all of the levels here, the 4, the 6, and the 8, and creating the 10. Now, I'm just going to zoom in here quickly on the 1 hourly time frame to this level, guys, because it's pretty impressive, you know, how we actually created, you know, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, all right, with the highs and the lows. So say we had this movement down with the 10. I'll be leaving the picture here, okay, so you don't get confused. So right over here, we do see that leg up, okay, as you can see, being 11, 12, 13 and 14 right there before we have the next big major upside, okay, as you can see on the chart, right? So I'm going to go back to the 4 hourly time frame, right? This was relatively quick. This is called the basement, right? This is the basement stage when we take a look at the three peaks and the doomed house. After the basement stage, we have a massive run up above the three peaks, okay? We're above the three peaks right over here. And here's where we do create that consolidation, right? From 15 to 20. So we have a massive run up, right? You could arguably discuss that this is the high right there. So you have the 15, 16 right there, 17, 18, 19 and 20, creating that higher low right there, and then entering into the doomed house, right? This would be the doomed house stage, all right, where we do have that run up. We create a high, right, being the 21, 22, 23 right there, which is the peak at $31,000. We have the corrective move right over here, okay, as you can see, creating 24, 25, a lower high, kind of a head and shoulder scenario, right? This is the doomed house, and that corrective move eating up the lows, right? Eating up the lows from this consolidation, right? So you have that drastic move to eat up the lows right over here. I'll be leaving the picture right there, guys. Look at this, you know, there are some really, you know, really intense similarities on this three peaks and the doomed house. Now, if we were to be forming this pattern at the end stages, right, we're at the 27 move up here, getting close to the support of the doomed house, right, that head and shoulder scenario. I mean, look at the picture, very much, you know, that could be that lower high before creating the massive collapse down, right? There is a lot of people that are bearish. There's a lot of people that are bullish, okay? There's a lot of, you know, confused sentiment right now. People that are bullish, you know, the banks are collapsing. Bitcoin's the safe haven, you know, $50,000 by the next coming weeks. And then we got the other scenario saying, hey, this is the strongest resistance zone that Bitcoin has, $30,000. It was the strongest support in 2021, 2022. There's no way that we are actually going to break above this range, okay? So there's a lot of mixed sentiment, okay? There's a lot of bulls and a lot of bears. But overall, we are looking at this bearish pattern, right? It's pretty curious how, we're actually forming, the movements very, very similar. You could say it's not perfect, but very similar movements. And you could arguably discuss that we are at the 27 stage here from the three peaks and the doomed house. Now you can see that that major correction would be following, okay, after forming this lower high, okay, from the doomed house. So if this were to be the case, all right, we are looking to break down the lows here, okay? What are the lows? Well, of course, that $27,000 range, okay, where we did get really nice supported, all right, the last few days, okay? We can see we got a beautiful bounce from that level. If this zone were to be lost, there's no doubt, okay, in my mind that we're going to get a major drop to the low $25,000 range. The low $25,000 range, okay, has been a massive resistance zone back in August of 2022 and also here in February of this year. Okay, if I do get that extended box, we do know that that is a huge resistance level that should be turning into support. If the price of Bitcoin were to be creating here the lower high, okay, with the three peaks and the doomed house, and we are going to come down to $27,000, it is very, very likely that this level will be broken. And our next big major support level, right, this is looking at the macro event, right, this is a possibility for the next coming days and weeks, right, this is not going to happen in between today and tomorrow, very likely. So we can see, the possibility of getting to $27,000. That is our major support. We've been bouncing very nicely here every time we've tested it the last few days. If that level is broken, guys, if you can see with the volume profile, we have a huge major gap with no volume. The price action moving from $25,000 to $27,000 was very, very fast. And this did not leave hardly any volume in between 25 and 27K, as you can see right over here. So the drop could be pretty intense. If we start dropping from this level, the $27,000, if it were to be lost, the movement down to $25,000, $24,000 could be pretty crazy. And everything points out that that is a very high possibility, right, when we take a look at this, bearish macro pattern, right? So just something that I wanted to point out there, guys, it is a possibility. We can see the movements, are very similar, right? Especially this zone over here. This zone over here from, the three peaks and the doomed house is just very similar. And this consolidation for that lower high, there's a lot of similarities here for this to actually, come down to 27 and even 25K. In the next coming days, potentially, right? I would potentially give it around about a week or so. So now that we've gone through this pattern, let's talk about the biggest resistance levels and how we could trade this, all right, in the next coming days. So if we do zoom in on the 1 hourly time frame, I'm just going to get these arrows out of the way now for 1 second, and we're going to go through the major resistance levels. So if we do zoom in on this zone, I want to explain to you that we do have an important weekly level that hasn't been tapped yet, okay? It was the weekly close, okay? As you can see, close and open from the 10th of April and the 17th of April right there. This level has not been tapped. We also haven't got, we've got an untapped daily level right over there also, okay? Which is exactly here at $30,300.80. There's an untapped daily right over there. So there's a lot of resistance at this zone. Now, if we do go back to the 4 hourly time frame, okay, we get the fixed volume profile from this zone, right? There's a large amount of consolidation right there. The point of control, okay, which would be a naked point of control right over here, hasn't also been tapped. That's at $30,200. So we can see here this major resistance zone, all right, in between $30,200 and $30,400. There's a lot of confluence. For the moment, we are already getting resistance from the value area low from this trading zone that we had from the 11th of April till the 19th of April. That's 8 days of consolidation. We left some pretty intense volume, and the value area low is getting resistance right now. If we do take a look at Fibonacci levels, all right, take a look at from the peak high of $31,000 to the peak low here from a few days ago. The 7-8, okay, is also here near the naked point of control, okay? The naked point of control is the point of control from this consolidation, all right, that hasn't been hit after we left this zone. So there's a lot of confluence at this level. If we were to get one more leg up, I would be paying close attention, all right, on how we're going to react at this zone, all right? Because if this zone is going to get a consolidation right there, in my personal opinion, it won't be a bull flag, it will be exhaustion, and the price will likely have a corrective move. Overall, we are hitting the 61865. We're getting a bit of volatility above that Fibonacci level, as you can see here, but it's a consolidation. We are getting the resistance. So everything points out that we could see the price starting to correct from this zone, right? We're just looking at pattern, we're looking at the probabilities here, and everything points out that that corrective move could happen. Now, with looking at Elliott wave theory the other day, we were talking about the possibility of this being an ABC corrective move, right? As we did break out from this huge ascending channel and got a beautiful rejection, okay? When we do take a look here at the ascending channel here from the higher lows, right? We had the higher lows right there, right? Beautiful ascending channel getting really nicely supported, okay, from the higher lows and resistance from the higher highs, as you can see right there. Beautiful resistance there, back down, okay? So everything points out, that this is big resistance zone, and there is high probability in creating a lower high right over here instead of actually testing $31,000 and actually breaking it in the coming days, okay? So we do see a little bit of exhaustion right there. We would have to have a really nice white swan event, right? More banks collapsing, more fear, and everybody jumping into Bitcoin to have that major breakout. It is definitely a possibility, because when we go back, okay, to 2019, the price action was hitting that resistance. So when we go back to 2019, right, we can see how that $6,000 was a huge support in 2018, right? And the 2019, it was big resistance, got a little bit of consolidation, but it finally broke out here and had a massive rally. We would have to see a white swan event, right, if we do want to see this kind of rally breaking the most important resistance zone, right? We'd have to see something happening worldwide, all right? There is a lot of people actually thinking that, hey, if the banks continue to collapse this fast in the next coming weeks, Bitcoin does have a high chance to get a massive euphoria stage, okay? And billions of dollars are going to be pouring into Bitcoin, okay? Managing to get all the way up to $40,000, $50,000 potentially. We never know, okay, these stages, these white swan events, but it is a possibility, right? We need to always think of, it is possible to happen, especially for Bitcoin, right? So let's zoom in here back, all right, to the lower time frames. We talked about the biggest major resistance zone, which is at the 30,200, 30,400 range. There's just so many levels at that zone, okay, that indicates that the price could hit that level, okay, hit the highs right there, and finally get a big, massive rejection. Me and the Legends trading community are going to be paying close attention, all right, to see what kind of price action here. If it is, a good shorting opportunity, are we going to have good risk management? Okay, because this is not suddenly, hey guys, this is a shorting level, it's big resistance. No, we are going to be ready, waiting for the reaction at that zone to see if it is worth to enter a short position, all right, with very good risk management. So what are the big major support levels that we do have? Well, the last major support zone, okay, if we want to count all of this as a zone right now, as we do have the lows and we do have, the highs basically right at this zone. So all of this is an entire zone at the end of the day right now. So if we do take a look at the fixed range from the start of the zone here from 26.5 to the very end, we can see obviously that value area low is the $27,000 range, okay, 26.8. So if we do lose this value area low, like I explained, our next big major resistance that's going to be turning into support is the $25,000 range, okay, as you can see right over here. So there's a big drop, okay. This price action hasn't left any kind of volume, okay, on the volume profile, so the collapse can be relatively big. Now, how am I going to trade this with the Legends trading community? Well, basically, depending on how we hit the lows, this is huge support. It is the value area low. The bulls probably want to hold this level if we were to going to come down there. However, they know the scenario. They know that this has been overextended, extremely bullish for the last few months, and it is possible that we are going to see that larger correction. So I don't think, in my personal opinion, we will not creating a failed breakout here and getting a huge, massive bounce, double bottom scenario. I think this is unlikely. If the price starts moving down there, we will have a small capitulation down to $25,000, even $24,000. Everything points out that that is the highest probability right now if we were to come down to 27. Okay, so not much more to be said here, guys. The biggest support levels are the lows, looking at the higher time frames, of course, and the resistance is right over here where we do have the weekly, the value area low, okay, which we're hitting right now. We do have the 7/8 Fibonacci from, you know, this pivot high of 31k to the lows, okay, a few days ago. A lot of resistance here, okay, so we'd have to see a massive volume and massive breakout here to be bullish, right, to test the 31k. Everything is pointing out, guys, that we are getting a little bit exhausted, and, you know, possible correction in the coming days is very, very possible, despite banks collapsing, you know, and everything. I mean, I am leaning slightly more bearish. Of course, we do not trade because I think that this is going to be a lower high and we're going to go to lower levels. Of course, it could be a swing trade and you have very good risk management. If you want some more information of day trade scalp scenarios, make sure to join the Legends trading community, okay? Because there's where we're talking, you know, there's where we day trading, where we are scalping, okay? Because basically, all right, we talked about multiple scenarios inside of this trading zone that have played out very, very nicely, okay? We've got other information on how to trade, you know, the highs and the lows, what are the next major breakouts. Make sure to, you know, join the trading community because, yeah, we are an insane community right there, and you're going to get my daily updates, okay, on Bitcoin and the possible trading scenarios. Thank you very much, everyone, and I will see you in the next one.